Precise. It describes a series of otherworldly realms you pass through right after death, states of consciousness so vivid, so overwhelming, that unless you've been trained, you'll have no idea what's happening to you. According to this ancient text, when you die, your consciousness doesn't just fade. It wakes up. But not in heaven, not in hell, something way more bizarre. Here's the crazy part. This book wasn't meant to be read, it was meant to be read to you or after you die. That's right. For over 1,000 years, Tibetan monks would sit by the body of the recently dead and read the Bardo Thodol aloud, not as a funeral rite, but as a literal guide to help the person's soul navigate the dimensions beyond life. They believed the dead could hear them. And they weren't whispering prayers. They were giving instructions. Now let's talk about where this thing came from. The Bardo Thodol is said to have been dictated by Padmambhava, a being who wasn't just a monk or sage. Tibetan Buddhists believe he manifested into our reality directly from a higher plane. Not born, not conceived. Appeared. Like a dimension.
I'd like to tell something about it. This dude here, later I'm going to talk about it, he's very bipolar, he's inconsistent. And I followed him, but now I start to think differently because it's not very serious. Some people do this work for monetization and a view and attention alone, and this should be a very serious job, work indeed. And if you are not, you don't have your mind and soul into it, then you better carry on, but don't be surprised if I come and I give my criticism and remarks. Me. Nobody else would do but me. Now, regarding this here, this is that is a tailor-made event. It's not a thing that happens to everybody, right? It's a tailor-made because I have accompanied all the people who I knew, even recently brother-in-law and a sister, or not sister, daughter, ex-mother-in-law who died last year. And she came to me, came to the hall there and asked for help, asked that I talk to her son because she couldn't get through him because he was not paying attention to her. Understand? And she wanted his attention because she was very clingy. You know, people from the East, usually the moms are too clingy nevertheless. And I passed the message to my daughter to pass to her ex-husband. And also I have seen from the same culture, my ex sister-in-law. She also came to me very angry, very aggressive, telling things about want to harm certain people. Okay, very angry woman, very unbalanced. Not a woman, a spirit. And after that, thanks goodness that I haven't seen this soul again. Neither do I want to see, because if I see, I'll send her to a place that she wouldn't want to go. So it's better this soul not come to me again to bother and talk nonsense. Because I never done nothing to her. I seldom talk to this person older than I, die at 75-year-old or no 73-year-old, and I not really had contact with this person to come to me and talk rubbish, talk nonsense. See, so death will not be the same for everybody. It's tailor-made, okay, to be like made to order. It's not the same thing for everybody. And for those who doesn't understand what I'm saying, who doesn't speak English, although my English is not very good, but I attempt to speak nevertheless. Okay, Quem não entender, vai aí para o tradutor e coloca no português. Fim de papo, ok? Fim de papo. So don't take this as a gospel. Don't take this by the book. Think otherwise. Think outside the context. And I have seen also my brother-in-law who went in 2021. My brother-in-law was not okay. He was totally sick. He died by COVID. And he was really feeling bad the other side. He was like in one church in the outside of a church, a cathedral, looked like Roma because he died in Italy. And this cathedral looked like Roma. And I never been to Roma, nevertheless. Anyways, but I saw him there, and he was asking for help. He was crashing. He was lying on the floor. He's 80. He died at the age of 83-year-old, and he was crushing his stomach. Okay, but after that, I no longer have seen any dead person come to me. Because die, they'll come to me. Die, whoever I know or is a family who dies, always come to me. So this is what this means, what this try to say, that death is not the same for everybody. Right? It won't be the same thing and it won't last for a long time. It's not true. And I don't believe all this Tibetan stuff here, religions, dogma stuff. I don't believe. Sorry.
Traveler.
And for each their own. What you think, so shall be unto die.
And the knowledge he brought? It reads like something between a classified military protocol and an interdimensional user's manual. This isn't feel-good philosophy, it's operational detail. You might be asking, why would something this important be hidden for so long? Because it's dangerous. This book does not conform to any dominant religious doctrine. It says you are responsible for what happens after you die. And that every image you see, every god, every demon, is a projection of your own mind. Not external beings. Not divine judgment. You. That idea alone undermines entire systems of belief. And that's just the tip of it. Even more disturbing, the Bardo Thodol doesn't describe some peaceful journey. It talks about terror, confusion, deception.
He says everybody is responsible for their own way that they want to see things. This one is something like, how to say, it's something like very sketch, but the word is not quite sketch. The word is another one that I succeed, something like that is, it's something that it has many side to it. It has many versions. So, what happens to one person won't it happen to another? Okay? Because it's based not on because of your perception. It hasn't much to do with how you choose to think, but the beings that are manipulating behind the configuration, yes. Do you understand? They are manipulating you through configurations like a kind of software in game, computer game. So if they don't like you, they say, this one passed, no, I don't like you, I'm gonna give you a hard time. So they put into our mind visions and even events and burden for us to go through turmoil, okay? Because they mark us here, and they will mark us the other side. But it's up to you to just give the middle finger like I will do, and the rest, I don't know what they will do, because the other side is different from here. And here is more difficult for them to penetrate. for some reasons here, it's harder for them to penetrate inside our aura and cause the damage. But on the other side, I have said it before and I'll say it again and again and again and again and again, because I'm consistent, or at least I try to be. We will be more vulnerable, and the chances of them attacking the other side will be more feasible, more capable. And don't ask me how you're going to protect it. You have to fend for yourself. That's why some say, oh, help, help. You have to fend for yourself. You have to be courageous. The word key here is courage. Without courage, you go nowhere. So it's not true what this dude is saying here. Sorry, not true.
It warns you that in the moment after death, a blinding light will appear and you'll probably reject it. Because the light is too pure, too intense. So instead, most people turn away from it and fall deeper into illusion. Into dreamlike realms full of distorted visions and trickster entities. You're not dead, you're lost. And unless you recognize what's happening, you'll be swept back into the cycle of rebirth. Not because it's your destiny, because you were tricked. Alright, so here's where things get real. You're dead. Physically, yeah, your body's done. But your awareness? Still on. Not drifting, not sleeping, on. You're no longer inside the machine you used to call you, but your mind, your raw, unfiltered consciousness, is active. You're not floating in some peaceful void. You're launched straight into an environment that is not what you expect. This is the Chikhai Bardo. And no one told you how brutal the clarity can be. There's no transition, no loading screen, no gentle easing in. It's immediate. You see a light, except it's not a light in the way you've ever seen it before. It's not shining at you. It is you. The Bardo Thodol is explicit here. What appears first is the clear light of ultimate reality. Sounds abstract. It's not. It's described as the pure, undistorted field of awareness that everything arises from. Not heaven. Not a god. You, unfiltered. And here's the catch, this light? It's overwhelming. Not because it's aggressive, but because it...
This is the oversoul that carries our body. This light is the oversoul.
exposes everything. It's total transparency. Every layer of self-deception, every identity, every story you told yourself about who you were, it burns through all of that in seconds. It's the equivalent of looking directly into the source code of your existence, and most people can't handle it. The Bardo Thodol straight up says, the majority of souls will not recognize this light. They'll get scared. They'll turn away. You've got no body now, so there's no sensory filter to buffer the experience. Everything is direct. Total immersion. There's no you as you understood it, but something is still there, the raw data processor. The thing that notices. And in this moment, it's confronted with truth that's too massive, too naked, too damn honest. The light doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't negotiate. And that's what makes it terrifying. According to the text, if you recognize the light as your own true nature, you can dissolve into it. But most people don't. Why? Because they expect something else. A being. A tunnel. A judgment. A story. And when they don't see that, they panic. The mind kicks in and tries to grab onto anything. And that's when it slips. Instead of merging with that clear...
Sorry, I beg to differ here when they say that we expect something else, but there's only our oversoul there, the light of our oversoul. I beg to differ because some people who didn't die but they have a NDE, a near-death experience, returns to claim that they have seen that they have encountered beings that looks like Jesus. Understand? I'm not saying that this will be the case to everybody, because as you believe, so be unto you unto die. So what happened to a Christian is not the same that's going to happen to a Muslim, to a Jewish person, to a Taoist, to a Buddhist. Okay? It's not the same. It's not the same that's going to happen to a shamanic person, because everybody is affiliated to what they believe or what they choose to believe. And for the atheist and agnostic, they will see on the light. So this dude here is referring to those who chooses to have no religious or dogmas affiliations whatsoever. So when they die in this state of a being, they will encounter sometimes nothing. They will sleep until they wake up. When they wake up, confused, and they will need guidance. Okay, so if at the last moment they begs for help because they're confused, because this side there is totally moved by computer algorithm. It's all illusion and can be damned confusing. It's not easy to navigate. There's murals after mural, whether you turn left, right, down, below, and up, you will find a sense, just like you flip through a book chapters. You are flipped through it, and then each page offers you a different reality. It's just like going in the corridor, and there's many endless doors to each side of the corridor, to the top, to the left, to the right, to the bottom. And you don't know which one to open, which one to go through. And each one of those is going to be met by different realities, different beings, different everything. Okay, that's why people who doesn't know about let's say aliens or other world will feel confused if they open this door and they depend if let's say a galaxy filled with aliens, then they will feel like lost. They will try to figure out what is going on, and they will ask for help. And that is where the so-called guides will come to bring them to the center, whereby they evaluate souls, and they go through filters, and eventually they maybe they are recycled. Maybe for me they will be recycled, and only part of them would be used to make new bodies under cryogenic labs, ethereal labs, cryogenic in a cryogenic state. And after that, they will be transported back to a new dimension, new form of life. Be it an alien, they will evaluate you, or human. Usually, if you are human, you go back to humanity. If you are alien, you will be alien one more time until a certain cycle. Understand? If you are animal, you will come back again as an animal until you complete certain tasks, which will be by force. Not that they should have, not that it should have, but because it makes part of their corrupted system. So they give, let's say, okay, for this party now, for this reincarnation now, you're gonna have 7 layers. What What it means is that you have to come back, let's say 7 years. Come back, come back, until you finish the 7 session. Then you go through another kind of reincarnation, another form. You understand? But many people don't know this. They know religion, but they don't know this is a pity.
Clear state, consciousness begins to fragment. It starts generating images, memories, constructs anything to stabilize itself. It's like a computer overheating and throwing up corrupted files. But these aren't files. They're environments, beings, sounds, forms.
These are aliens.
And this fragmentation
Another
kicks off a
planet.
whole chain of events that pushes the soul further away from the light and
Don't
deeper
worry.
into illusion. You don't get to pause this process. It's not optional. It happens instantly. The more you resist what's being shown, the faster your consciousness drops out of the high-frequency state and into lower realms, more familiar, more safe, but also more deceptive. You think you're gaining control, but you're just moving deeper into confusion. And the kicker is every reaction you have in this phase creates momentum. It's like karma on steroids. Every fear, every craving, every attempt to go back or figure it out creates gravity. That gravity pulls you into the next phase. Nothing in this phase is neutral. If you don't recognize
be
what's happening,
excited.
the process doesn't wait.
Excited for
The Bardo Thodol says this moment, the very first exposure to the clear light,
such challenges and turmoil or whatever. This is gonna be an adventure. So what? If you are, like, say, you happen to be autist or hyperactive, you go like, you, so what, man? Let's go. Going back in this quest, in this journey. So what? What will be, will be.
is the best shot you've got at full liberation. But the window is small. A few seconds. Maybe minutes. After that, you're moving. Now you're moving. Whether you realize it or not, the first moment has already passed. You missed the clear light. That window's gone. You didn't recognize it, or maybe you couldn't hold it. Doesn't matter now. You've been pulled into the second phase, Choni at Bardo. This is where things go off the rails for most people. Fast. You're no longer just floating in pure consciousness. You're now in a space where form is coming back, but it's not physical. It's psychic. You're in the realm of appearances, projections, thought forms. But these aren't just in your head. They're real to you now. Not metaphorical. Not symbolic. Real. This is the mind turned inside out, and everything is manifesting. Instantly. You're going to start seeing beings.
Let me go back again. This one, what it means is that the mind now, the energy of the mind, there's names in the Vedas about this Vayana Vayus and the pranas, very type of pranas, Vayu. Understand? So each one exit the body after that, bit by bit. So it's still attached to the ethereal body. Ethereal body. And it goes with eyes and this perispirit. Okay? The trick here is try to remove your consciousness here, go back to atoms. And then let go of this body, which is the perispirit or the causal body, which absorbs all the negative energy and all the luggages, all the things that we did here, which was not correct, okay? And sometimes also good. So what will happen here in this stage? We are still operating with the mind. It was passed before through the book Conversation with God. whereby the beings uh, explained explicitly about we being operated with the mind. So once you operate with this mind, yeah, you're gonna see things, we're gonna travel around. I don't know whether you can, let's say you are in the United States or you are in Africa, you can go, you can transverse other places, intermingle to other places. I don't know. Let's see, mingle, migrate to other places. I don't know. I don't know. I need to find out whether after this you can go from one country to another. Sometimes it's sometimes, I'm not gonna say it's easy because it isn't, all right? But you can go from one state, let's say, to another, or indeed within a region, or to countryside, etc. But to go very far away, I'm not sure. Although they think, oh, if the mind, yes, we can travel, with the psychic, we can travel, but still are carrying that very spirit. So it's make things a little bit harder. Thus, here we operate with the mind. So when the mind is finally destroyed, when that energy is dissipated, you no more start to create in the mind. And there is the time when these beings appear and the tunnel appears as well. The tunnel is a trap, all right? These beings too is a trap, no matter which form they come in as.
Figures, lights, sound. Budol lists them with military precision. Peaceful deities, terrifying wrathful forms, massive shapes with hundreds of arms, faces glowing with compassion or screaming with rage. But here's what makes this phase brutal. None of these beings are independent. Every single one of them is your mind. That's not spiritual talk.
It's a configuration, it's a software. But don't blame you, it's not your fault, it's the Archon's fault. It was them who created, not you. Do you understand? But if you want to say, oh, it's my fault, go ahead. Think it's your fault. Take all the blame. You don't care.
That's the operational fact laid out in the text. These figures are you. The luminous ones are your higher states. The wrathful ones? Your suppressed instincts, your unresolved trauma, your rage, your confusion. And they are active. You don't just see them. You feel them. They know you. They speak directly into your mind. Some will try to comfort you. Others will straight up assault you. They'll roar, chase, bleed light or fire. You're not watching them on a screen. You're in it. This is interactive. And the mistake people make here, again and again, is thinking this is punishment. It's not. This is a diagnostic. Your mind is being turned into a theater, and all the unprocessed content is now being acted out in full 360 degrees. The peaceful deities appear first, usually in pairs. Light radiates from their bodies, blue, white, red, green, yellow. These aren't just colors. Each one corresponds to specific states of mind, wisdoms, perceptions, elemental structures. If you recognize them as part of yourself, you can merge with them. That's the key. But if you hesitate, if you cling to any kind of duality, any separation, you'll trigger fear. And that fear shifts the projection. The peaceful turns wrathful. Immediately. This is where most people start to unravel. Because now the mind turns on itself. The wrathful deities show up in force, loud, chaotic, aggressive. Demonic forms. Some with animal heads, others with flaming swords, blood in their mouths, rage in their eyes. And they're all still you. The text is clear, there's no external demon chasing you. Some with animal heads, others with flaming swords, blood in their mouths, rage in their eyes. And they're all still you. The text is clear, there's no external demon chasing you. You're being shown everything you denied, avoided, repressed. It's confrontation, not torture. The longer you fail to recognize them, the more elaborate the projections become.
This all rubbish, lies, deceptions, deceits, all rubbish.
They start generating entire environments. Sounds. Echo chambers of judgment. You'll hear voices, maybe from your past, maybe not. Some will beg. Some will scream. Some will mock. It doesn't stop. And the thing is, this entire realm is built to test your recognition. Not your morality. Not your faith.
Your recognition, not your morality, not your faith. Recognition of what? That I mean, I know, this one is a way of, and this is, moron here is to pretend that he's a woke person. Woke what, dude? You're not a woke at all. Okay? Because you are like, you are defending, supporting these beings. These are all nonsense. You know what this is? It's a psychological traits, tactic to make you succumb, make you give in and accept their terms. Okay? So when you are totally like down, right down there on the pit, the bottom of hell, metaphorically speaking, is when you're going to ask, beg for help, then they will come, pretend to be saints and angels and gods, and they will come, pretend to protect you and be your savior, and then before you know, you are again inside a person's body, inside a womb, inside a uterus, and I'm back to life again. Understand?
Just one thing, can you tell illusion from reality? Most can't. They react emotionally. They plead. They run. They fight. But every time you engage, the illusion...
My sister fought. I saw her. She become terrible. She really fought hard, and I like it. I like warrior spirit.
Hardens. Every reaction locks you in deeper. This is why Choniad Bardo is one of the most dangerous stages. Because it's not obvious. It looks like some spiritual battlefield or divine court, but it's your own psychological content rendered in raw, living archetypes. You're still in. Still moving. The forms didn't dissolve. You didn't recognize them. The system doesn't punish you for that, it just progresses. Now you're in the next layer of the experience. The realm of the 32 deities.
I think that form is your oversoul that you have accumulated, these layers of your oversouls who now comes as beings. Then you find it strange because, what's this? A monster, a demon? It's not me. But you didn't know, but it's your oversoul.
These aren't angels on clouds. They're not here to sing to you or to guide your soul. These are structured presences. Specific, exact, organized. Each one with a form, a light, a frequency. And they don't show up randomly, they emerge in a sequence. Not for worship. For exposure. Starting from day for after death, these beings begin to appear. First the peaceful ones, 12 manifestations across 5 Buddha families. They represent mental energies, or wisdoms, that most people never accessed in life. They are not metaphors. They're psychological forces made visible. They radiate pure colors, blues, whites, reds, And they aren't cute. They are massive, intimidating.
Yeah, they are demons. That's the gods you all worship.
Impossible to ignore. They face you head on,
Eles são demônios, os deuses que vocês louvam, adoram.
like a mirror that refuses to blink. Each one offers you a shot, a moment of recognition. If you can identify them, not as gods, not as demons, but as projections of your own mind, then boom. You integrate. You ascend. You step outside the illusion. But what actually happens? Most people look at these forms and freeze.
Yeah, this is the god you worship there on the screen. This one's the one that you all see. So what more or less what they are trying to say here is that finally they will appear after you go through hell. This is what it means hell. You're gonna pass through tormented nightmare. You go through this at the stage when this is gods. Then parentheses will come, which is the archons will come and present themselves to you. This is the god of imagination, or your archetypes god.
They feel inferior, unworthy, confused. They don't recognize themselves in these forces, they see them as the other. And when that happens, when the split kicks in, you don't rise. You drop. That drop triggers the next wave, the wrathful deities. These aren't separate beings. They're the same energies, but now they're distorted. The colors dim. The faces contort. The compassion becomes rage. Instead of offering union, they appear to chase you, confront you, even threaten you. But again, they're not punishing you. You're reacting. You're interpreting their form based on your fear.
I'll fight
That's what
back.
shifts the entire
What are you gonna do? You're gonna kill me? Kill
Theme.
that stupid body there.
By day 7, it escalates. You're now facing the Lord of Death. Sounds theatrical, right? It's not. This is where the judgment scene plays out. But here's the twist. The Bardo Thodol tells you straight up, the Lord of Death is also not real. He's another projection. A symbolic force. And guess what he holds in his hands? The mirror of karma. It's not a book, not a scroll, it's a surface that reflects everything. All your actions, thoughts, patterns, right there in front of you. No narration. No interpretation. Just raw playback. This is not judgment. There's no courtroom. No divine
Judge
sentence.
them.
What you're seeing is your own momentum. The results of your mind's conditioning, your habits, your desires. And it's brutal. Because there's no escape from it. The more you react to what you see, the more emotionally you respond, regret, shame, pride, whatever, the heavier the karma gets. You're loading weight onto yourself in real time. Nobody's doing it to you. You're doing it to yourself. Then something else happens.
Yeah, that's the 3D mark. That's the explanation, justification of true blue psychopath narcissist. They'll say, I'm not doing, never mind, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna torture you, but I'm not doing it. You are doing it to yourself. The narcissist would have you hear that they do it. Okay, that's the narcissist psychopaths. Whatever they do, don't blame them, blame you yourself alone. Because they don't want to take responsibility. They are so egocentric that they won't take responsibility for their rotten, evil behavior and attitude towards life in this planet.
The deities start fading. One by one, they disappear. Not because they're gone, but because you didn't recognize them. You weren't
I
able to
wouldn't
merge.
recognize them. I won't.
And so the whole structure starts shutting down. The system closes the high-level windows. Your chance to operate. conditioning, your habits, your desires. And it's brutal, because there's no escape from it. The more you react to what you see, the more voices that feel like they're cutting through your consciousness. But here's the critical thing, none of them are demons. Not one. They're your own psychological content. Your own mind, unmasked and unfiltered, projected outward at full intensity. That's the entire point of this realm. The fear you're experiencing? You're doing that. These aren't external enemies. With avoidance, you reinforce.
Lies, advocate of the devils, all minions, all herds, minions, advocate of the devil. It's not true what they are telling. He's a lie, lies, lies. Stupid emails, lie.
Force it. You make it more real. You lock yourself deeper into the illusion. Because the moment you believe it's something else, something outside you, it gets power over you. You're being tested, but not by them.
I'll say,
You're
so
being
what? And so what? What next?
tested by you.
Gonna kill me again? Kill.
These forms only last seconds unless you engage. Then they loop. They intensify. They multiply. It becomes a storm of projection, each deity shifting form as your reactions shift. You see a monster, you feel fear, it becomes worse. You see aggression, you try to fight, it becomes tenfold. You try to escape, and the environment itself warps around your panic. You start to forget you're even dead. That's how real it feels. The Bardo Thodol says this phase is where most people get completely lost. Because now the fear isn't just mental, it becomes existential. You feel like your very being is under attack. You want safety, a body, a place to hide. That craving is exactly what triggers the descent into rebirth. This is the
all this tactic, this is the trick exactly, this is the trick. That's exactly the trick, the deceit.
trick. The fear makes you forget that this is all a construct. It makes you believe that the only way out is to run.
Yeah, I told you already, right? Haven't I told that they will pressure you into accepting reincarnation? Otherwise, or else you will stay in hell and purgatory and go through all this. Did not I say? It's either you consent or you stay in this state. And yet there are some worms out there, there's some parasites who claims, the advocate of the devil, as I call them, who claim that this is our choices, that this is our fault, that we are here because we want, and that we choose our lives, we choose our mother, father, whatever, husband. It's all lies. Wives, it's all lies. Children, it's all lies. They choose for us. They make a configuration. Before we embark here, they will create a data for us with everything from the when we will be born, with exception of course, because in a case if the mother wants to change the date of birth, she can go there and induce, and these children will be affected somehow. You understand? Because it will become like they are destituted. Once you change the birth date of your children by doing cesarean induction birth before time. Okay, so but another way they do configure, make a software that is pegged within our oversoul that controls all our birth, our lives, which kind of life we will lead, what kind of a job, profession, etc. Whether you're gonna be a housewife or a bomb or whatever, okay? Or you're going to work outside. No, that's why some people, no matter how much they find job or a lover or marriage, they will never find because they were not cut up. That's why they call it cut up. They say you are not cut up to be that because already within the configuration that is given to us from these beings that you all worship. Congratulations for your stupidity.
But there's nowhere to run. So what happens? Your mind does what it always does, it searches for escape routes. And in this realm, escapes means manifesting a new reality. A new existence. A new life. But that's not transcendence. That's recursion. The loop. You don't escape the wrathful deities by killing them or bargaining with them. You escape by recognizing them. By seeing them, feeling the fear, and not reacting. But almost no one does that. Because in this state, everything is amplified. There's no filter. No delay. You react, and the system reacts to your reaction. Now the system shifts gears. This is where the illusion of choice is introduced. And it's subtle because it doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like a break. A moment to breathe. It feels like you're finally being offered options. But what you're actually walking into is the karmic mirroring phase, and if you don't know how it works, you're already being sorted. Here's what's happening: everything you just went through, every reaction, every emotional spike, every fragment of identity that got triggered, it's all been recorded. Not by a divine being. Not by any external judge. By your own consciousness.
Lies.
The data is in. Your mind has
Lies.
generated its karmic momentum, and now the system
Lies,
uses that
psychopath.
information to start shaping the next destination.
Lie,
You're not
psychopath.
choosing from a menu. You're choosing from a set of karmically pre-qualified projections. And you won't know it's a setup. The Bardo Thodol is explicit here, based on your karmic residue.
If it's not chosen by them, why then is it recorded? These people cannot even lie, if clarity, they cannot even lie. They are not good at lying.
You will begin to see certain realms. Light realms. Shadow realms. Human. Animal. Lower. Higher. But they don't show up labeled. There's no narrator. You just feel pulled. Attracted. Repulsed. Some realms will glow in gold or silver light. Others in deep red, green, or grey. And each one will match a dominant frequency in your mind stream. You'll feel like you're making a decision. But you're not. You're being magnetized. This is the deception. Every karmic imprint is like a magnet. Fear draws you to one place. Lust to another. Regret to another. Even something as simple as nostalgia can bind you to a cycle. The Bardo Thodol says you might see a familiar landscape, a face, a sound, and without thinking, you follow it. Because it's comforting. Because it feels right. But it's not reality. It's a projection tailored by your own unresolved patterns. And the moment you choose, really, the moment you react emotionally, you activate the next phase of the trap. The architecture starts building around that choice. The system doesn't need to imprison you. You build your own cell out of preference. That's the brilliance of it. That's what keeps the cycle running. This is where the wombs begin to appear. But not yet physical. These are energetic impressions, gateways. You'll see light forms that seem like lovers, or families, or entire realities calling to you. The system isn't throwing dice. It's calculating resonance. It's matching your internal frequency to an external birth condition. If you follow that pull, if you buy the illusion that this is where you're meant to go, then you're locked in. Not because you've been sentenced, but because you buy the illusion that this is where you're meant to go, then you're locked in. Not because you've been sentenced, but because your consciousness still hasn't recognized the game. Still hasn't stepped back far enough to see that every choice in this phase is a prescripted feedback loop. You're not rising. You're recirculating. The text even warns, beings in this state can see multiple realms at once and mistake one for liberation. Some people get pulled into light realms and think they've reached paradise, but they're just in higher loops. Others drop straight into shadow realms, driven by guilt or attachment, and can't tell the difference between torment and identity. Because again, the system doesn't need to lie. It just needs you to be confused. Confusion is the engine. Karma is the fuel. You're out of choices. You've been pulled through karmic filters, matched to frequencies, presented with illusions tailored to your internal code. And now? You're standing at the final threshold.
Okay, they said what? It's not our choices. That means what? You don't choose who your mother is, your father, if your father is a drunkard, your mother has abandoned you. It's not my case, of course. My mother didn't abandon us, me and my siblings. But I mean, talk about those whose mother abandoned them, the father as well. So they said, oh, it's only the spiritualists between parentheses would say that it's your fault. You choose that. Everybody chooses their own mother and father. That's not true. That's not true. These beings has chosen for us. They choose all our fate, our date of birth, etc. They did choose for us. It's a lie. Their system, even if by random, have done that. Have done this job.
You don't fall into a body by accident. You walk into it. And you do it because of craving. Because something inside you, a desire, fear, confusion, wants an exit. And in the death state, that exit looks like a womb. At this stage, your mind has collapsed through the upper bardos. It didn't recognize the clear light. It couldn't integrate with the deities. It couldn't face the mirror of karma. It reacted to fear. It followed attraction. And now it's down to instinct. Base level impulse. The Bardo Thodol says you begin to see scenes. Vivid ones. Sexual imagery. Bodies in union. You're watching what looks like human reproduction.
Here say what? Anger, lust, greed. This is all what the Bhakons can have. We cannot have. Only Jehovah can have in his minion. We cannot have all this. Anger, lust, all this that Nuneks can have, we cannot. You see how narcissists they are and egocentric and bully and oppressor they are, lust, etc. All this, the only they can have, we cannot.
Bardo Thodol says you begin to see scenes. Vivid ones. Sexual imagery. Bodies in union. You're watching what looks like human reproduction, but it's not erotic. It's magnetic. It's pulling you. You don't see it and judge it. You feel it call you. That pull? That's the ignition trigger for rebirth. The text says this is where the last defense collapses. You want warmth. You want identity. You want to feel again. And the moment you emotionally attach to one of those scenes, consciously or not, you're drawn into the womb. And it gets more twisted. Your emotional state at the moment of entry determines your next incarnation. If you enter with anger, you'll be pulled toward a condition that matches aggression. If you enter with lust, same thing. If you enter in ignorance, just blank, no awareness at all, That's the most common path. That's the autopilot loop. The reincarnation cycle doesn't reward or punish. It just matches vibration. And here's where the trap snaps shut. The text describes energetic wombs, not just human ones. Depending on your karma, you could be reborn into higher realms, lower realms, non-human entities, even disembodied forms. The process doesn't care about your beliefs. It only responds to your energetic data. The womb appears like salvation, like hope, like safety. But it's a reset button. And once you're inside, you lose the thread. The memories begin to collapse. The previous life becomes fog. The bardo experience fades. And you're locked in again, fetal, unconscious, cycling. You don't get to carry this knowledge forward. You don't remember the terror, the confusion, the missed opportunities. It's like falling asleep during a system reboot and waking up not knowing the system even crashed. The most devastating part? You think you made a choice. You think you picked your next life. But in reality, you got funneled, nudged, filtered. You followed the breadcrumb trail your own mind laid down under stress. And now you're back in the loop, starting from zero. You were almost gone. The system had you. The womb trap was closing. Your consciousness was collapsing back into incarnation. But the bardo thodol doesn't end there. It leaves one last door open. A hidden exit. The text says that even at the edge of rebirth, even in the moment your mind is about to enter a womb, there's still a chance. A flash. A split-second recognition that can cancel the whole reset. It's not spiritual. It's operational. A back door in the architecture. If, in that final instant before identification, you see through the illusion, if you recognize the sexual imagery as bait, if you understand that the pull is just karmic residue seeking resolution, then everything stops. The program breaks. The loop halts. You don't merge with the womb. You dissolve the attraction. You don't escape by moving forward. You escape by not reacting. No fear. No desire. No ignorance. Just awareness. The bardo thodol describes this as the moment of non-identification. The still point. If your consciousness can hold presence here, without clinging, without rejecting, you can exit the cycle completely. Not into a heaven. Not into void. But into full clarity. Unconditioned awareness. The source. But here's the hard truth. Almost no one does it. Why? Because by this point, most people are exhausted, confused, desperate. They want to be someone again. They want form, identity, feeling. Even pain is better than the unknown. And so they fall, not because they're damned, but because they were never trained to recognize the trap. This is why the Bardo Thodol was meant to be read aloud at death. Not for ceremony, for function. Because if you're hearing this as you die, or even just know it while you live, you have a map. And maps are dangerous, because they give you options the system doesn't want you to have. That's why this text was hidden for centuries. That's why no one talks about it outside of closed esoteric circles. Because it doesn't reinforce any religious power structure. It doesn't need gods. It doesn't promise salvation. It puts all of it, everything, on you. This isn't just ancient mythology. It's a detailed psychological model for what happens after death and how awareness can be manipulated across dimensions. And now you know. If you've made it this far, you're not just a casual viewer. You're part of the few willing to confront this head-on. No sugarcoating. No filters. You've seen the raw mechanics of death, rebirth, and the system in between. And for that, I want to say thank you.
It's all nonsense. I see always a nonsense. And with being some, I don't know, as a Buddhist or Taoist, they bang the a kind of instrumental, like shamanic thing, like tung, 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 tung. That they believe it will awaken the dead, and they provide for the dead paper, coin, credit card, maid, mansion, everything that they will need on the other side while they are traveling in the other side. And how they do it, they put inside a urn and then they burn it, and they believe that the ashes will go to the sky, will go to heaven and reach the dead. And they wake those people with the one kind of musical instrument, tung, 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 because they believe that the dead is asleep and they need be waked to go through their journey, cannot sleep, must carry on and cross the bridge. Okay? Cross the bridge. And I can tell it's not easy, it's very bizarre, it's not easy. It's not easy for the soul. And it's very bizarre. Death is in life, both sucks big time. And once you see a person who was less angry here, on the other side it will double fold. Okay, one person who is angry here, on the other side gonna be double fold. They become like a real tiger. They become very ferocious and aggressive on the other side. Because of all those traumas that they go through, they already come out from a trauma here and they go to through a trauma on the other side. It is not fair. It's really not fair for many people here. For some, they believe that they will just sleep. Those are the atheists, and I hope so. They will just sleep. But one day they will have to wake up. Nevertheless, which is sad.